Hi and welcome, LaGrange, Georgia. How are y'all doing today? My name is Blair, and today's topic is going to be the impact of our food. So I hope that most of everybody likes food because we kind of need that to survive. But I wanted to start off by asking three questions for you to think about. So the first question is, have you ever heard of a food print? Because once I was researching this, I had never thought about what a food print was. The second question is, do you know the impact of our food and how it impacts us, how it impacts the earth? How food can actually be, effective in impacting things we might not think about. And the third question is, how much food do you waste on a daily basis? And that's pretty important to think about because I know that we can be pretty ungrateful sometimes. So I wanted to start off by explaining what a food print actually is. So a food print measures our environmental impacts associated with the shipping, processing, transportation of all of our food products. And our food system, it accounts for over more than a whole quarter of all of our greenhouse emissions. So that says a lot about us, and that really makes you think as a person, like, wow, food can really impact greenhouse gases. Food production and consumption are rapidly deteriorating the earth. So, we really need to do something about that. And the next thing I wanted to discuss are food choices and how they have more impact than you actually realize. So, when we eat, different types of food we put in our body, fruits and vegetables, things like that are really good for us. Greasy foods, fatty foods, anything like that is not really good for us, even though it tastes really good. They can affect your body's health depending on what you eat. They can affect your physical health and also your mental health. A lot of foods you don't realize can cause depression. They also affect our animals. So it's, just in the US alone, over 10 billion animals are slaughtered to meet our food needs. And when I think about it, I think about, little cows being killed and sad little piggies, being killed just to, for us to make bacon or hamburgers. But if you think about it, it's pretty sad. So, us humans, we really waste a lot of food. If you think about it, there's two different kind of sections. So there's food loss, and food loss is basically food that spoils, food that goes bad on the shelf in the grocery store before we even get it, before we even buy it. So, there's one way, and then there's food waste, which food waste is when we get a whole big plate of food, and we only eat like half of it, and the rest goes in the trash. We don't put it up or nothing, it just toss it. And I know most of us like to eat, leftovers, which is a good thing because we're not going to waste food. But a lot of us, me included, I'm guilty of just throwing away food because I know I'm not going to eat it again. And it's really upsetting to think about because, it's pretty sad. So, and all that food, it goes to landfills. So I'm going to show you an example of what our planet will look like, if we continue to just throw away a bunch of food because all it does is sit at a landfill. So when you look at this picture on the screen, if you can see it, that's how it's going to look like. And that can lead to land degradation, which is basically where the land looks like a desert almost, just terrible, terrible soil, no life growth, no plant growth. So some things you can actually do, what our future will look like if, what you can do if you, put more effort to your diet, try not to waste more food, think about your food choices when you decide like, yeah, what is my next meal? So if you do those good choices, if you eat lower on the food chain like fruits and vegetables and don't really eat a lot of fatty meats, and you're saving animals by doing that. one thing. You buy foods that you can consume before they expire, so food loss and food waste won't be an issue. You can also compost your own food, that way you don't throw it away and it goes to a landfill and sits there and rots. And one other thing is you can choose local food options instead of going out and buying food that might be shipped and that's come from an airplane. I mean, think about that. The air in an airplane is really nasty, and you never know if you get fresh produce. In our future, without doing those things, obviously it's going to look like the picture on the screen, which is really sad because I don't want to live in a world that looks like this. And when I look at this picture, it makes me think of the movie WALL-E. That's a really good example of, how the earth can really change if we don't do something to help the earth. The future without doing all those things, another thing, there's going to be tons of landfills, of course. And that all the food sitting there generates methane, which is not good for our health, not good to breathe that in at all. The green gas emissions are going to just keep going up, and that's not going to be good for our environment either. Many animals will still be, slaughtered. They're going to be killed, so the animal population is going to go down. And we don't want to make most of the animals go extinct from us, keep, constantly killing them when we're just wasting the food. So, some additional notes that I have on the screen here are food production and consumption are rapidly deteriorating the planet. And it's really sad to think about because what we're eating is pushing the planet to the breaking point of climate change. And I've really never thought about this before, but when you think about it, your food can actually, when it sits in the landfill and produces greenhouse gases or methane, that is really bad for our environment. And, we should all be working to reduce our footprints. There are many factors, including affordability, health, and culture that can help shape our decisions, because I know there's many cultures out there who practice with their food. They practice eating healthy. They practice, I know going vegan isn't an option for most people, but that might be the best thing that a lot of people can do for the planet to help save the animals. Have plants that are thriving, good soil, no green gases, and we could be able to breathe better. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want the earth to be better, if you want to live in a better world, if you want to make a change and to honestly, help our world, when you walk outside, you want to see a green pasture or, just green. You want to see the earth thriving, the earth living. You want to be able to walk outside and be like, wow, I helped and I made a difference, so I can walk out and see, the beautiful earth before you. Your health will be so much better if you start eating healthy. The animals will be happy you're not killing them off. Animal population will be thriving. So the main question is, do you really want to help the earth, or do you just not care at all? You can change some of your food patterns. You can make the world a better place if you just